Hey, so you're thinking about moving to Blue Mountain, but you're not even sure where to start? A lot of you think Blue Mountain is just where the ski hill is, but actually there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot of surrounding neighborhoods and even other little parts of what makes up the town of Blue Mountains that you wouldn't think is actually part of the mountain. This is like Thornbury, Clarksburg, and some of the outskirts around Blue Mountain. In this video, I'm going to go through a map tour and share my Google screen and show you it kind of explain the different sections of Blue Mountain. And that way you'll get better acquainted with it and understand that there's more to it than just the skiing part and just the mountain itself. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you subscribe and tap the bell for notifications. That way you'll just be the first to know everything that is happening here in Blue Mountain, Collingwood, and Wasaga Beach. My name is Kevin Asilva, and I'm a local real estate agent here with Royal of Page Locations North. And I get calls all the time from people just like you that are looking to make a move here, buy a cottage here, a ski chalet, a beach house near the water. So it doesn't matter if you're thinking about doing that next month or next year even, or if you just want to know more about our general area. Reach out to me. In the description box of this video, there's all the ways you can do that, including a way where you can book a Zoom link directly on my calendar at a time for you. All right, so let's look at what outlines actually the town of Blue Mountain. Let's start with that. So if we go all the way around this line, if you just type in Blue Mountain in the search bar right here, it's going to give you this big outline all the way around here. So what people don't realize is sometimes they just think it's actually this section right here, or the actual mountain, right? They just think it's over here, the Blue Mountain Village, stuff like that. It's actually just a lot more than that. So it starts over here on this side. So this side of Gray Road 21 is the Collingwood side, and this side is the Blue Mountains. So for this video, we're really just kind of focusing on some of the areas around Blue Mountain, but we just want to point out, I just want to point out exactly where Blue Mountain is over here, right? So you got, the village right here, the mill pond. This is all the village amenities right here. There's your village. And then we're going to really focus on the areas around it. So the closest, walking distance things to it, walking distance neighbors would be places like, Snowbridge is a bit of a walk because you have to go through the golf course, but 15, 20 minutes. Windfall, depending on where you are in Windfall, it's kind of close. Honestly, unless you're within, like on Carmichael or in the Rivergrass over here, or right near here on Kandahar or Tyrolean Park, you're walking distance, but you're getting over the 10 minutes. And if it's more than 10 minutes, I'm driving probably. So, but hey, to some people, walking distance might be 15 or 20 minutes. But yeah, we're gonna focus around some of these other areas of Blue Mountain, going over towards Thornbury and Clarksburg and some of the spots, Craigleith and Alpine. And we're gonna get into all that. All right. So a lot of people even associate Collingwood and Blue Mountain as the same place. Not only are they different towns, they're different counties. Collingwood in Simcoe County on one side, and Blue Mountains in Grey County on the opposite side. That's just something to note. But let's just start. Let's try to work our way east to west and kind of dabble around in the mountains. So first things first, in this area right here, you have your Windfall and your mountain house and a few things. So I don't know if I can drop the Google guy there yet. Let's try it, because it's a brand new subdivision and I don't know if it's a market. Oh yeah, no, it's not. So you can see. Let me place them on Gray Road 19 and see what it looks like. Yeah, so you can actually see. So this is Windfall right here. This is the first subdivision you're going to come across. You can see, let me just move over a tiny bit. Windfall. So this is when you're coming down from this direction here, that's coming from the Collingwood direction, right? So you would be, this would be the first subdivision you would come by is Windfall. And in Windfall, there's a big variety of homes. A lot of them are walking distance to South Base Lodge. So that's a cool spot right there. Let me show you. Yeah, so if you're anywhere in Windfall, there's South Base Lodge. So right here. So that's pretty neat and pretty close by. Homes in Windfall. Let's see what we got. You got around $1 million. I've seen a lot of these in the 9s. 1.5 would be more for detached stuff. Here's a sold price. I always go for the red icons. A sold one, $849 gets you a 70. Some in the 9s, depending on finishes and stuff like that. So that gives you just a brief overview on Windfall. Let's zoom out a little bit. We can go to Snowbridge, right? Snowbridge again. These are right around the mountain. This is just on the other side of the Montera Golf Course. Part of Snowbridge actually backs onto Montera Golf Course if you're on the outskirts. This is what the homes look like in here. It's its own little community, and homes in Snowbridge. Let's go over there. Go for around. Oh, nothing recently sold in the past 90 days. There's some asking right now for 1.25. That's a lease. 2.2. That seems a bit of a stretch. And then you got places like Montera Estates. Montera Estates just on the other side here, and these are some nice homes here too. Big wide lots, also backing on to part of the golf course, as you can see over here, right? If you're on the outside of the of Grand Cypress or Augusta, you'll be back onto some golf courses or some holes in the golf course, the Montera Golf Course. If you Google just Blue Mountain, it'll give you Blue Mountain. But if you put the Blue Mountains, that's what makes up the entire area. So it depends how you put your search. See how you put, if you put Blue Mountains, it gives you this outline. Whereas if you just put Blue Mountain, it'll just give you that. So we covered Windfall, we talked to Snowbridge, we went over to Montera. What about somewhere like Swiss Meadows? Yeah, let's do Swiss Meadows. Top of the mountain, you can go up Scenic Caves Road right here. Go to the roundabout, you go up here. You can stop at Scenic Caves Adventure Park. The Blue Mountain Lookouts over here, and then you go over here down Swiss Meadows, and you're in Swiss Meadows, and that's a totally different vibe up here. A lot of cottages and stuff. But here we are on Nordic, up in Swiss Meadows. Pretty big mix of homes up here, but a lot of them on the older side. But there's some nice character up there. Going back to the Google Map. So places like that. The Orchard's really popular if you're a member at the Toronto Ski Club or you're skiing at Craigleith. A lot of people go to the Orchard too, and I'll tell you what they kind of look like in there. I'm gonna have to do it from the road because Google Dude doesn't go in there. But this is the Orchard right here with the mountain in the back. You can see that. That's a kind of a cool spot. Oh, some of the most exclusive, nice, big, mature trees is right here. The really nice spot over here on Timmins. I really like Timmins. Really big mix of homes though, over right here. So show you what that looks like roughly. Now you got some nice rebuild stuff. Oh, you can actually see as you're going down the street the rebuild. Look at that. That's interesting. There you go. There's a shot of the rebuild on Timmins, but then there's older stuff. But this is nice. You can see the big trees. I really like this area. It just feels exclusive to me. And you're right off the highway. Easy access to Thornbury, or go back to Collingwood for dinner. And yeah, I like that spot. It's a good spot. Let's see, Craigleith Road. Oh, these are some nice ones right here. And Alexandra, and this area here, Alexandra Way. Let me just show you what some of these homes might look like here. A little smaller one. But there's some really nice homes over in Craigleith. Let's see here. There we go. Here's a couple nice ones, bigger ones. I'm on Alexandra right now. But anyways, you'll get the vibe. There's quite a few different ones, but they're pretty nice homes. So I'm just gonna move along here. We got Nipissing Ridge over here. Let's look at some of these. There's Blue Ski George got some of the newer. They're like semi-detached homes and stuff like that. So that's what those look like. This is a nice spot too. So I would recommend going through here if you want to be, close to the mountain but not right near the village. Kind of off to the side. It's pretty well sought after. People like Nipissing Ridge. People like all of Blue Mountain, but they all feel different. Like I always say in my other videos, it's all about the feel. We got to drive through these areas together and see what kind of resonates with you. That's the most important thing. We got to make sure it resonates with you, right? So that's a cool spot there. All right, let's move out. Let's go. Actually, I want to point out one other area. I really like this area over here around Brooker. I just want to kind of point this area out here. I like these homes here. I like the backdrop of the mountain in the background there. There's a tennis court somewhere around here, and like we'll play at this tennis court right here, as you can see it, right? And in the background though, you have your mountain setting, and it just looks really nice. It's a nice setting. It's a nice neighborhood. Like look at the houses around here. They're all pretty nice. Like, this don't want to say it's one of my favorites. There's a lot of nice ones, but I just tend to like that one. The Rivergrass in here. Well, this is, you know, if you want to buy this as an Airbnb, this is one of the Airbnb approved areas. You may want to consider that if that's something you're interested in. If it's not necessarily to move here, but you want to buy it as an investment and rent it out when you're not here. That's one of the Airbnb approved areas. Not everywhere in Blue Mountain is Airbnb approved. Refer to my other Airbnb video where I cover some of these areas of restrictions across the entire region. So let's go over to, oh, we've got Alpine Ski Club. This is a great little spot over here. I shouldn't say little. Look at this. It's beautiful. That's the Alpine Ski Club. This is awesome. Okay, and the houses around here, show you what those look like. Here are some of them over here. And let me show you some of these down here on Alpha. There you go. Look at that background setting. It's just it's right there. You're right at the base there. It's pretty neat. So that's a cool spot. Or you could be over in the Peaks, Georgia Peaks. There's kind of a newer development over here. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see it from Highway 20. There you go. You can see it. There's this development right here. If you want to be near the Peaks, right across the street, you would literally walk. So if you're at, let me put them back here. If you are a skier and you live in one of these, you literally just cross this road and you're there. All right, so that would cover kind of that area. Working our way over even more west from the Peaks, we're getting close to Thornbury, but even before Thornbury, there's the areas around the Georgian Bay Club, the Georgian Bay Golf Course. This is pretty nice over here too. Got some homes over here. This is Indian Circle. Again, they all there's a lot of similar feels. There's a lot of different feels. Feel out the pockets. You got to drive through these and feel out the pockets. Okay. And as we go over, we're getting into Thornbury, and I like Thornbury. Thornbury is really neat. You got the Thornbury Harbor over here. Let me see if I can get I can get them right there. Look at this. This is the harbor front at Thornbury. Big marina. Nice restaurant. It's up here. You can't really see it here, but it's called the Port. That's the new. That's the new what restaurant with a water view. So you might want to check that out. And then downtown Thornbury is just so neat. It's just so unique. Let me put our. I'm sitting basically right on the corner of, this is Highway 26 basically, and then Bruce here. This is the main drag, Thornbury, the main street, and over towards this way. If you kept going, you would get towards Lower Bay. We'll hop over there in a second. The Lower Bay golf community, you'll be impressed with that if golfing's your thing, that's for sure. So that's a cool spot. Down here would be where we just came from, the marina. Where I just showed that. Well, actually, we could probably see the port from the top side here, the restaurant. There it is. There it is, the port. Okay, and then there's your view in the back with the water and overlooking the boats in the marina. This is really neat. Oh yeah, we were going to go for a little walk. So back towards the main part where all the restaurants, some of the businesses are and stuff. Right here we're on the corner. Like I said, that was towards Thornbury, that was towards Lower Bay and towards Meaford. And right here on the corner, you got your banks, your cafe, the corner grill and cafe. You got the Thornbury Bakery Cafe. You can see people sitting outside enjoying a nice summer day downtown Thornbury. And paint shops, coffee shops, restaurants. What else we got here? Fabrica. What else we got here? Ashanti Coffee. See, if you continue down the street, you get towards Clarksburg, but we'll go to Clarksburg in a little bit. Let's just stick around Thornbury for a second, because Thornbury's it's just a cool spot. I just want to point out a few things, like the Bayview Park over here. Look at this Bayview Park. Look at this park. There's playground for the kids, some walking trails, picnic benches you could see all over here. You could see some homes, waterfront tennis playing, right here. This is a neat spot. This is the Bayview Park. Definitely recommend going and checking this out. And then over towards here, right kind of behind these townhomes over here, that would be towards the overlooking the other side of the marina. Let's see if we can get right in there. And you can, there you go. There's the marina. There's the Beaver River. Like, it's a really neat spot. So, there's the Beaver River right there. There's the Mill Pond right here. And there's a cool townhouse complex right. I can't get in there. There's a cool townhouse complex over here that, you can't really see it. But this is the townhouse complex, and it overlooks. You can see it. No, you can't really see it. But right here, all these houses back here overlook that Mill Pond. So that's a really neat spot in Thornbury. And look at this. Your walking distance, or let's say Google Map distance for sure, like 10-minute, 12-minute walk kind of thing. And you're at that main corner in Thornbury, which is right here, like I was mentioning earlier. This is the Mill Cafe right here. Let's look at that. This is one of my go-to favorite restaurants. I don't know if you can see the name. No, the name doesn't show on this side. You can't really see it, but this is see, there it is. The Mill Cafe, 4.5-star reviews. Really great spot. Really, really great spot. You can go there year round. Moving on, I think we can move on from Thornbury. I've got a few things I've shown you. There's so much to look at, but I'm just kind of doing a quick Google Map version. And when you're ready, we could do one of these screen shares. Book a call directly with me. There's a link in the description box of this video, and we could do a customized version just for you, and we can Google Map and play around some of the areas before you even come up, and we can spend some time together on the computer over Zoom, and then we can spend even more time togetger driving around, looking at some properties and showing you the area. So this is the Thornbury, what's it called? The Thornbury Cider and Brew House. Words aren't coming to me today. Pet store, there's quite a few things going on there. And then when you pass the main part of Thornbury, you just go over the bridge. You'll have food land over here. There you go. There's food land and your LCBO. Again, right near town. Like the center of town is right there. So you're still super close, super close. But there's more to explain in here. It's just we can talk more about the Beaver River and everything, but there's just so much for this video. And then if you just continue down Bruce, you'll end up in Clarksburg. And you'll end up on Marsh Street in Clarksburg, and I'll show you what that kind of feels like over here. Let's see. There's your Beaver Valley Community School. What else? Here you are. A couple businesses over here, little shops and stuff. This is just, a small little section, right? So it's not a huge town. It's very, very small. But that's small town living, right? So the small town living would be, Clarksburg, Thornbury. When you get closer towards Blue Mountain and Collingwood, they're still towns. They're just bigger towns, right? Compared to here. Thornbury feels very, very exclusive. It's kind of upper scale, a higher class, higher income bracket, higher income retirees, stuff like that. So that's something. And then as we go over from Thornbury a little bit, almost towards the edge before Meaford starts, we're not going to cover Meaford today. We're just going to kind of cut it off at Lower Bay. If you're a golfer, the golf club at Lower Bay and the Lower Bay neighborhood, like this is a sweet neighborhood. These are what the homes look like over here. In one section, I'm on Landry in Westridge. These are some really, really exclusive golf community. Really nice homes. Definitely worth a look. We go here quite a bit. A lot of clients really like Thornbury, really like Lower Bay. And then they have there's talks about them putting a pickleball court in at the clubhouse. Clubhouse is here. They're talking about putting in a few more amenities. They have a gym down there, stuff you can use. So that's a pretty cool spot. And then as far as pricing, I know there's stuff for sale in Thornbury. I know there's a really recent sale in there Where'd it go? There it is. I saw this pop up the other day. So that's a just sold for 1.85, I believe. Yeah, 1.85. You got stuff like 1.5, 1.599. A lot of this kind of style garage on the side, but not all of them. But you see it, you do notice it. There's quite a few in here. They're honestly, there's lots. 9, see 1.8. There you go, garage on the side. 2.2 must have been landscaped amazing, and more. Who knows? But yeah, that's kind of what Lower Bay looks like in a really high level nutshell. So let's go in. Let me see if I can get the Google guy. There's the clubhouse right there. I know it's not the greatest view, but look, you're overlooking the water. When you're like, this is one of the holes right here, right? Look, they're teeing off. There's the water. The view is incredible. Honestly, it's like such an amazing spot. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of the town of Blue Mountains and some of the small towns, right? A lot of small town living, a lot of people that are interested in small town living, smaller than Collingwood, smaller than some of the surrounding areas around Collingwood. So the small towns like Thornbury, Clarksburg, and then there's even like hamlets like Ravenna. There's even little sections that are all part of the Blue Mountains where they're literally just a corner, really. There's, if I just put it right there, it's really just like a corner section, and it's more about rural properties. So there's probably there's some big, farm homes, acreage properties, a lot of stuff like that. So if I zoom out here and we just pick a property like over in Heathcote, let's see, what is 2.3? You say this, what I mean. You're talking about acreage now. You can see this photo right here, right? What else? Let's see what this 1.2. It's probably just a bunch of land and a garage. Let's see what else. It's over in Rockland. There you go. Decent looking house, a double car garage for $599. Okay. $995 in Heathcote. But yeah, you got we already saw this one. 3.1. Oh, let's go here. But yeah, you get the sense. There's once you get away from the water, kind of inland south from the water in the township of Blue Mountains, or in the town of Blue Mountains, sorry, you get into more rural properties and a bunch of little hamlets. Or mainly the towns in the village are Clarksburg, Thornbury, Craigleith, stuff like that. So I think that's a good kind of high level overview. But again, we can get super specific. We can talk about a lot more. But yeah, that's a very high level overview of the town of Blue Mountains. Remember, town of Blue Mountains, not just the ski hill at Blue Mountain. And that I took you around and we talked about some of the smaller hamlets, some of the smaller villages, the Laura Bays, the Thornbury, the different pockets. And again, it's all about the feel and the pocket. So we got to get out there. Let's book a call and do a customized version of this for you specifically. You can do that in the link in the description box of this video. You can book a call directly on my calendar. We'll start with that, and then, hey, I would love to take you on a tour up here, and that way you can get a feel for all these different areas that we're trying to look at over the computer screen. We can't get a feel of it over a computer screen, but we can get to know it a little bit better this way. Then let's go for a drive and feel it out, see if it's the right fit for you. I hope you found that really valuable. Again, my name is Kevin De Silva, and I'm a local real estate agent here with Royal Location Locations North. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know everything that is happening in Beaver.